I'm out here in Santa Barbara, California to drive the new ZDX. I can't tell you what my impressions are until May 2nd, and that will be on the Type S. I didn't get a chance to drive the A-Spec, but what I am gonna do right now is kind of go over the differences that the A-Spec has with the Type S. So we got a couple of A-Specs right here. You'll be able to get these either in rear wheel drive. Yeah, you heard that right, Acura in rear wheel drive. That's not an NSX. And you can get an all wheel drive. Both of these are the all wheel drive equipped. Now the rear wheel drive has around 350 or so horsepower and gets you 313 miles of range. These models all wheel drive have 490 horsepower. The Type S has around 500, so you're not losing that much of power. But in terms of torque, this has 437 pound-feet of torque, if I remember correctly, and the Type S has 544. So that's where the Type S has the advantage here. But since these have smaller wheels than the Type S, you can see those 22s on the Type S down there. These have 20s, and so we know when you have smaller wheels on an EV, you get better efficiency. So here's the base wheels here on the A-Spec, and this will allow you to get, I think, somewhere around 304 miles of range, even on the dual motor all-wheel drive model, which is quite impressive. So I want to go over some other differences with the exterior trim that might not be evident when you look at these side by side. A lot of people say, oh, it's just, you know, that has the Brembo brakes and this one doesn't. There's actually some more differences on the outside that you wouldn't see initially. Okay, we have the fully blacked out roof on the Type S, and these are paint matched on the A-Spec. All right, if we look down below, the wheel arches on the Type S are a glossy black. As we go to the A-Specs here, it looks, initially you think it's a glossy black, but it's actually a really dark gray with a just a tinge of sparkle in it. Now down here is glossy black, but right above it is dark gray. All right, now as we come to the side, this finish is the same, but the wheel arch here is that dark gray as well. 265 by 50s. These are actually narrower tires. On the Type S, I think they're 275s by 40 series with the 22-inch rim. So not only are these have a thicker sidewall, they are a little bit more narrow, and that's going to help with the fuel efficiency as well. On the back here, we do have smart key access on all 4 doors, which is super helpful, especially with kiddos. A-Spec here on the charging port, and I might be locked right now, but there's A-Spec on the charging port instead of the Type S badge. The Brembo brakes aren't here, but yeah, I guess it doesn't have as much flare in that regard, but it does have the flare up front. You still have the illuminated front diamond pentagon grille. You're going to have the chicane style daytime running lights that double as the turn indicator. You still have the jewel eye headlights too, and then down below you still have parking sensors. Now this is glossy black again on that Type S, and here on the A-Spec it's a dark gray finish, but unless they're side by side, you really aren't going to be able to tell the difference between the two. We have glossy black mirrors here, glossy roof rail, and this portion right here is blacked out on the Type S. Okay, I can get in, this is great. So this is the Orchid interior, which I think in maybe the TLX or the MDX it was exclusive to the Type S, and now you can get it on the A-Spec, which is pretty cool. So moving the ZDX piece over, now this is a big difference. So back here there's a tri-zone climate control in the Type S, and the A-Spec is just empty, and also the Type S had additional household plug-in here. You still have USB-Cs on both grades. Now something that also carries over is a Bang & Olufsen sound system. They're identical between the A-Spec and the Type S models. I think it's 18 speakers, subwoofer in here as well. We'll get into the front seat here in a little bit. I don't think there's a lot of changes there. I want to see if there's any changes in the back area. I think the back was pretty basic on the Type S. Like, there weren't any buttons to raise or lower the suspension, because the Type S has an air suspension. It can raise 25 millimeters, and then it can lower 15 millimeters when you're in sport mode. But back here it all looks very similar. I can fold down the seats with a couple pushes of the button. And then you also have a 12 volt back here. It would have been nice to have like a 120 volt household plug since it's an EV, but it is what it is. Now let's see if there's anything difference here. In the Type S there wasn't this huge underfloor storage here. That was taken up, so maybe that's where they put some of the air suspension components is in that area right there, but this is not in the Type S. It's additional underfloor storage, so that's a nice little feature here. You still have adapted suspension, just not the air ride here. So let's open up the front door. Same materials, same trim, to my knowledge, that you see on the Type S, except the Type S will have an embossed Type S logo here on the headrest, but they look pretty much the same to me. Now, the A-Spec does not have the bolstering adjustments, and it does not have the thigh extension adjustments. The pedals are exactly the same. Now, this is your sport modes, but in the Type S, you will have air ride. So there's a button here to raise and lower the suspension. Opening or closing the door, battery's at 88% with 268 miles left. So that gives you an idea. I mean, you can extrapolate from there. There's only 583 miles on the clock. It is, again, it is rated at 304 miles of range. Good, I have the key in here, so let's go ahead and just turn it on. Not a lot of like pomp and circumstance for the startup here. It was pretty simple startup. There wasn't like any Acura screens that we see on Type S models like the TLX or MDX that I'm aware of. The screens are identical between the Type S and this A-Spec. I do not have a head-up display. And that head-up display, well, just wait for my review on May 2nd. I talk a lot more about it. Okay. Climate control, heated and ventilated seats are the same. I still have a heated steering wheel on this A-Spec. The steering wheel looks identical, except I have an A-Spec badge here instead of a Type S badge. This might be a big feature for some of you that the A-Spec does not have, which is the Super Cruise. Well, that's what GM calls it. Acura calls it the Acura Watch 360 Plus. This will still have radar cruise control, lane keep assist to my knowledge, but it doesn't have that hands-free driving feature. So that in the Type S, you'll have this portion of the steering wheel which has like an embedded light in it, which will communicate to you if you can drive with hands-free, or you should put your hands back on the steering wheel, that sort of thing. So that might be a feature you might want to have, and it might be a wise investment to go for the Type S over this if you're doing a ton of highway driving. I even have memory seats on this A-Spec, just like the Type S as well. Wireless charger here, sleeve style, which is a first for Acura. There might be some differences with the center console here. I feel like this is a bit basic, so that might be something the Type S has as an advantage of as well. Not much going on inside there. It's just like an empty plastic container, and you also have underfloor storage over here as well. The Type S will have the first ever for an Acura digital rear view mirror. This one is actually pretty small. It feels fairly similar to maybe some CT5 V Blackwing mirror that I remember testing. It kind of gives me that vibe. Now this sunroof actually opens up. I think Acura said it is the only vehicle in its segment. Here we go. That was okay. This is the vent button, and this is the slide button. I think it's the only vehicle in the segment that has a sliding panel roof, so I know that's going to make some people pretty happy. Look at that thing, it goes all the way back. That is fantastic. This is one of the widest opening panel roofs I've ever seen. Okay, of course it's the same on the Type S as well, but that's about it. Yes, you can get different interior colors. You can get black, you can get red, of course you can get lots of different paint colors on the outside. The Type S has that double apex blue pearl that you see over there. This is, I'm just gonna call it red and gray. I don't know the exact paint colors off the top of my head, but yeah, you can see, oh, the lights is turned off, never mind. But the A-Spec brings a lot of value. This one comes in, the prices are official now, before the tax credit. I want to say it's the mid 60s, 64.5, something like that. Then after tax credit, which it does qualify for, is 57.5, something like that. So 57.5, and then the Type S after tax credit is going to be in the mid 60s, somewhere in there, mid to upper 60s. So I'll put the prices down below for you guys, but let me know what you think. Would you be getting the A-Spec with the larger tires, probably a little bit better ride quality in theory right? I haven't driven this yet, but that has the air suspension, the bigger brakes, the extra torque and power, just slightly more power, head-up display, digital rearview mirror, 360 camera. This one does not have the 360 camera, for example. So yeah, let me know which one you would be picking down below. But I'll see you back on May 2nd for the ZDX Type S media drive. I drove a Tiger Eye Pearl one today, which is also an exclusive Type S paint color, like that double Apex blue pearl. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.